A writing system is any conventional method of visually representing verbal communication. While both writing and speech are useful in conveying messages, writing differs in also being a reliable form of information storage and transfer. The processes of encoding and decoding writing systems involve shared understanding between writers and readers of the meaning behind the sets of characters that make up a script. Writing is usually recorded onto a durable medium, such as paper or electronic storage, although non-durable methods may also be used, such as writing on a computer display, in sand, or by skywriting. The general attributes of writing systems can be placed into broad categories such as alphabets, syllabaries, or logographies. Any particular system can have attributes of more than one category. In the alphabetic category, there is a standard set of letters of consonants and vowels that encode based on the general principle that the letters represent speech sounds. In a syllabary, each symbol correlates to a syllable or mora. In a logography, each character represents a word, morpheme, or other semantic units. Other categories include abjads, which differ from alphabets in that vowels are not indicated, and abugidas or alpha syllabaries, with each character representing a consonant-vowel pairing. Alphabets typically use a set of 20 to 35 symbols to fully express a language, whereas syllabaries can have 80 to 100, and logographies can have several hundreds of symbols. Most systems will typically have an ordering of its symbol elements so that groups of them can be coded into larger clusters like words or acronyms, giving rise to many more possibilities in meanings than the symbols can convey by themselves. Systems will also enable the stringing together of these smaller groupings in order to enable a full expression of the language. The reading step can be accomplished purely in the mind as an internal process, or expressed orally. A special set of symbols known as punctuation is used to aid in structure and organization of many writing systems and can be used to help capture nuances and variations in the message's meaning that are communicated verbally by cues in timing, tone, accent, inflection, or intonation. A writing system will also typically have a method for formatting recorded messages that follows the spoken version's rules, like its grammar and syntax, so that the reader will have the meaning of the intended message accurately preserved. Writing systems were preceded by proto-writing, which used pictograms, ideograms, and other mnemonic symbols. Proto-writing lacked the ability to capture and express a full range of thoughts and ideas. The invention of writing systems, which dates back to the beginning of the Bronze Age and the late Neolithic era of the late 4th millennium BCE, enabled the accurate, durable recording of human history in a manner that was not prone to the same types of error to which oral history is vulnerable. Soon after, writing provided a reliable form of long-distance communication. With the advent of publishing, it provided the medium for an early form of mass communication. Secure written communications were also made more reliable with the invention of encryption. General properties. Writing systems are distinguished from other possible symbolic communication systems in that a writing system is always associated with at least one spoken language. In contrast, visual representations such as drawings, paintings, and non-verbal items on maps, such as contour lines, are not language-related. Some symbols on information signs, such as the symbols for male and female, are also not language-related, but can grow to become part of language if they are often used in conjunction with other language elements. Some other symbols, such as numerals and the ampersand, are not directly linked to any specific language, but are often used in writing and thus must be considered part of writing systems. Every human community possesses language, which many regard as an innate and defining condition of humanity. However, the development of writing systems, and the process by which they have supplanted traditional oral systems of communication, have been sporadic, uneven and slow. Once established writing systems generally change more slowly than their spoken counterparts. Thus they often preserve features and expressions which are no longer current in the spoken language. One of the great benefits of writing systems is that they can preserve a permanent record of information expressed in a language. All writing systems require at least one set of defined base elements or symbols, individually termed signs and collectively called a script. At least one set of rules and conventions understood and shared by a community, which assigns meaning to the base elements, their ordering and relations to one another. At least one language whose constructions are represented and can be recalled by the interpretation of these elements and rules. Some physical means of distinctly representing the symbols by application to a permanent or semi-permanent medium, so they may be interpreted. Basic terminology. In the examination of individual scripts, the study of writing systems has developed along partially independent lines. Thus, the terminology employed differs somewhat from field to field. The generic term text refers to an instance of written material. The act of composing and recording a text may be referred to as writing, and the act of viewing and interpreting the text as reading. A grapheme is a specific base unit of a writing system. Graphemes are the minimally significant elements which taken together comprise the set of building blocks, out of which texts made up of one or more writing systems may be constructed, along with rules of correspondence and use. The concept is similar to that of the phoneme used in the study of spoken languages. For example, in the Latin-based writing system of Standard Contemporary English. Examples of graphemes include the majuscule and minuscule forms of the 26 letters of the alphabet, marks of punctuation, and a few other symbols such as those for numerals. An individual grapheme may be represented in a wide variety of ways, where each variation is visually distinct in some regard, but all are interpreted as representing the same grapheme. These individual variations are known as allographs of a grapheme. For example, the minuscule letter R has different allographs when written as a cursive block or typed letter. The choice of a particular allograph may be influenced by the medium used, the writing instrument, the stylistic choice of the writer, the preceding and following graphemes in the text, the time available for writing, the intended audience, and the largely unconscious features of an individual's handwriting. The terms glyph, sign and character are sometimes used to refer to a grapheme. Common usage varies from discipline to discipline. Compare cuneiform sign, Maya glyph, Chinese character. The glyphs of most writing systems are made up of lines and are therefore called linear. But there are glyphs in non-linear writing systems made up of other types of marks, such as cuneiform and braille. Writing systems are conceptual systems, as are the languages to which they refer. Writing systems may be regarded as complete according to the extent to which they are able to represent all that may be expressed in the spoken language. History. Writing systems were preceded by proto-writing systems of ideographic and/or early mnemonic symbols. The best-known examples are Jiahu symbols, carved on tortoise shells in Jiahu, 6600 BC, Vinca signs, 5300 BC, early Indus script, 3500 BC, Nzibidi script, before 500 AD. The invention of the first writing systems is roughly contemporary with the beginning of the Bronze Age in the late Neolithic of the late 4th millennium BC. The Sumerian archaic cuneiform script and the Egyptian hieroglyphs are generally considered the earliest writing systems, both emerging out of their ancestral proto-literate symbol systems from 3400 to 3200 BC, with earliest coherent texts from about 2600 BC. It is generally agreed that Sumerian writing was an independent invention. However, it is debated whether Egyptian writing was developed completely independently of Sumerian, or was a case of cultural diffusion. A similar debate exists for the Chinese script, which developed around 1200 BC. Chinese script are probably an independent invention, because there is no evidence of contact between China and the literate civilizations of the Near East, and because of the distinct differences between the Mesopotamian and Chinese approaches to logography and phonetic representation. The pre-Columbian Mesoamerican writing systems are generally believed to have had independent origins. It is thought that the first consonantal alphabetic writing appeared before 2000 BC, as a representation of language developed by Semitic tribes in the Sinai Peninsula. Most other alphabets in the world today either descended from this one innovation, many via the Phoenician alphabet, or were directly inspired by its design. The first true alphabet is the Greek script, which consistently represents vowels since 800 BC. The Latin alphabet, a direct descendant, is by far the most common writing system in use.